with a chance to tie inside. Zion-Williamson! Season-high 38 Williamson driving inside. I think you thought you saw him grimacing and in pain.
Well, he's headed to the locker room. We don't know the extent of the injury.
Oh, no! We suck again!
Many months later.
We've got breaking news out of the NBA. Pelicans star Zion-Williamson will make his return tonight against the Timberwolves.
Now for DeJounte and almost taken away. It is taken away. Showtime.
In the meantime, New Orleans saw Zion Williamson in a familiar spot on the bench and street clothes. You can't keep getting away with this. Without a doubt, one of the NBA's top box office performers, Williamson can captivate an entire arena. The problem with Zed Williamson is that he rarely appears on the court in good health and uniform. Instead, it's always something he's either overweight, dealing with a lingering injury, or just doesn't feel like playing right now. In fact, Zion's unavailability is so commonplace that we aren't even astonished. In fact, over the past year and a half, I've seen this person in street clothes more often than in genuine uniform, demonstrating how awful things have gotten and looking ahead to 2025. After playing a few games early on and missing 27 straight games due to a hamstring injury, which was obviously a holdover from last year's game against the Lakers, Zion Williamson has finally made his Red debut. Looking ahead to his return, he played fairly well against the Wolves and was somewhat IAL. Zion was healthy, but now it's cruelly twisted, faded, and ironic. Zion the Pelicans' next game was a back-to-back, so of course that game was not available. I understand that you want to be cautious when playing with kid gloves, but this guy is almost 25 years old and in his 6th NBA season. At this point, take off the training wheels and let him loose. Zion Williamson is practically in need of rest days to prepare for his next rest day. Boom roasted. If your best player, young superstar, is missing games so frequently that it's almost impossible to win and be successful like Zed Williamson in your lineup, and look to give the PS some credit. They've been semi-competitive most years minus Zion actually made a pretty good trade this offseason to acquire Dion Murray. Now, the newfound duo of Dion and Zion Williamson only play one game together. Look, pal, we saw this come a mile away in Murray's Pelicans debut game. Of course, Murray played in the first game of the season, but Zion wasn't, and in typical Pelican fashion, Murray would miss the next 16 games without playing with Zed's son in a single matchup. The first time both Murray and Zion were healthy in the same game was against Minnesota near the halfway point of the NBA season. I mean, that's pretty pitiful, and when I look at those guys' contracts, I mean they get paid a ton of money to play half the games, a quarter of the games, and sometimes none at all. To make matters worse, the big three of Zion, despite their seeming greatness on paper, Murray and Ingram play exactly 0 games together as Bran. Of course, Ingram has missed 14 games in a row. Grandpa, did you not anticipate that one? Many NBA fans lament the Clippers' terrible luck, but when I look at the Pelicans, I mean, it's more than just poor luck, it's like voodoo magic. I'm not sure if it's the food or something in the water, but it's really terrifying, especially when you see the head coach of the Pel, who is obviously Green Willie. I genuinely believe that this man is a pretty good head coach, especially considering the circumstances. He has led his team to 134 victories in 4 years, which is barely less than 500. On paper, he has led his team to 4 seasons below 500 without winning a playoff series, and many teams and franchises fired him right away. However, there is a lot of context that is obviously missing for Green, as he obviously didn't coach Zion in a game during his first full season as head coach in 2022. I'm shocked, but not that shocked. If any head coach in sports, the NFL, Major League Baseball, or the NBA, deserves a great deal of grace, it's Willie Green, given these lineups he has thrown out there. Laloon is a well-known NBA player, thus this man spent most of his time in New Orleans, but going over 500 and making it to the playoffs without Zed Williamson is truly an incredible accomplishment. Yes, that's fantastic and everything, and the context of Green being a good coach is all well and good, but ultimately, what matters are the players' availability and health, and Zion and Inga are almost a tag team on the court right now. Duo as start of the year, one of them will be healthy, play 5 to 7 games, get hurt, tag the next guy, and he'll play 10 games, then get hurt, tag him back, and then vice versa goes on the entire season. These two guys as a duo, there's not really a definitive take. Do they work, do they not? Because quite frankly, they haven't been healthy enough to reach that verdict. And looking at one last very damning stat, the Zion-Ingram duo games played together by season. Here's the totals: 2022 0-23, 12, 24, 55. And this year, only 6 out of the possible 284 games they could have played together, they've only played 73, percentage-wise 25.7, but wait, they're more. And here's one last damning stat, that cherry on top to really send it home: consecutive games played as a duo. These two together haven't reached above 12 in 4 consecutive years. When it comes to Zion Williamson, look, I've got nothing against the guy, I don't know him personally, but at this point I'm just a massive skeptic and just a non-believer. Because again and again try to invest in this team, give them attention, then out of nowhere they burn you, hurt, injured, not playing, and that Zion dunk first. The Timberwolves naturally. A top 10 player plays ESPN highlight every day of the week. And when I see players like that, I just back him. I start to wonder if the clock is ticking. Is it 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks before the guy gets hurt again and is sidelined? It's only a matter of time, and this guy is about 24 years old. So theoretically he is still at the top of his game. Keeping in shape only gets harder from here on out. So in terms of Zion's general durability and health, I just believe he's one of those people that won't age well. Finally, I do want to look at the draft class right before Zion Williamson to put Zion in perspective. That draft class in 2018 was really packed. Almost every season you had SJ as a potential MVP. Luka Doncic, who has already advanced to the finals, makes the first team in the NBA. Jalen Brunson, a great play performer, as well as Trae Young, the MS assist leader. Those guys were drafted one apart to Zion Williamson, and accolades wise, team winning wise, have let this dude over and over again. And looking at Zion's own draft class, I mean, this dude in games played out the first round ranks 26 out of 30 behind Ty Jerome, who, when compared to John Morant, the second pick in that draft, Trav playoff wins appearance as well as games played. Bick Resign at this point hasn't played one playoff game in his career. There's so many guys drafting Zion's own draft class even 1 or 2 years after him who have lapped him over and over again, whether it be Jaw, Anthony Edwards, or Tatum SGA, and there's tons of guys, even at Cade Cunningham at this point, more upsetting potential than someone like Zion, and of course being the next face of the NBA that's been passed from Zion Williamson directly to Victor Wanyama. So that right there is the end of the video. And look, Williamson, Zion, I wish him the best, but after watching these dunks and highlight plays, I'm wondering how long he's been hurt. I'm only going to let him play a maximum of 25 games this year. I doubt he'll play 30 at this point. I hope for the best, expect the worst, and just keep playing like always. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Next time. Music.